So Mom, okay, so this is Mom's, these are going to be 101-year-old stories because Mom had a birthday August 16th, 2021. But anyway, so we had talked about, you want to talk a little bit about Dad, my father, right, when he was a small child?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you were going to,
I could talk about him, what he told me.
okay, now I know this part of the story from going on Ancestry that Grandma Ollie
What?
Smith, she married Alonzo Stone. They met in Rennes. They married actually in Lawrence County.
They met in Stapleton.
Okay, they met in Stapleton. They married in Lawrence County, which is Dublin, Georgia. And then they ended up moving to Savannah. So
Yes,
you take it from there.
they moved to Savannah. And then she got pregnant with Herbert,
Okay.
her son. And she moved, to have the baby, she moved back to Reds.
Okay.
She moved to Reds where her mother was, for the family had moved
Well, in Stapleton, actually.
in Reds.
In Stapleton, yeah.
And I don't understand. She wasn't able. It seems to me like what they said was that she and Alonzo was not married, but she was pregnant, and she couldn't have the baby at rest at her mother because she was not pregnant.
Okay, Ma, I can tell you from looking in the marriage records, they did get married in 1917. It's noted she was married. They married in 1917 in
But
Dublin,
they were
Georgia.
separated then.
Okay, but she was married. Yeah.
They were separated and
Maybe she just wanted to come home to have her baby.
uh
Maybe she just wanted to come home to have her baby delivered.
yes, but she couldn't have the baby at her mother's house.
So where'd she have him?
She had to have the baby at her sister's house because she was a married woman or something
No,
like that.
she was married. She was married.
She was married, but she wasn't with her husband.
Okay.
Anyway, so after she had the baby, then she could move into her mother's house.
Mm-hmm.
And she stayed there with her mother for, I don't know,
Couple of years.
no,
Couple of months.
a couple of months, and she moved to Philadelphia
With the baby.
with the baby.
Okay.
And she stayed in Philadelphia, and but she was a party woman, party girl. So she used to go out and party all night. I take the baby in and put it in the back of the car, and she was the driver. Whoever she had, she go out with, had a car, and she would have the child in the back of the car sleeping while they go to the salon or whatever saloon,
Yeah, saloon.
and wherever they want to do the drinking and partying.
Mm-hmm.
And then she come home, go to bed, take the baby out the car, put the baby in the car, in the
Balcony.
in the no, he was about 2 years old then.
Mm-hmm.
So he would get up in the morning while she is still asleep, but it was like the house was never locked up.
Mm-hmm.
So and in Philadelphia, it seemed to what he said, all the houses were attached.
Mm-hmm.
So the balconies were attached, the houses were attached, and he would get up I go out on the balcony, looking around, crying, cause he's hungry, and can't get his mother up to feed him. And so this lady and her husband live right next door. And she saw the two-year-old out there crying on camera. So she told her husband to jump over the rail and get the baby. So he did. And after he got the baby, he was soaking wet. And she said, well, I'll feed him while you go to the store, Woolworth, and buy some clothes for him. So the husband went to Woolworth and she made some cereal for the baby. And when the husband came home with the clothes, she gave him a bath and put on his clothes. Well, the mother got frantic. His mother got, cause where was the boy? Where was the baby? Mm-hmm. And so she says, oh, I have him over here. I hope you don't mind. He was on the balcony crying and wet. And so I took him over here and fed him and give him a bath. Oh no, I don't mind. You can do that every day if you want to. I don't care. I'm not going to run the way he is. Okay. So with that, she raised him. She took care of him. And then eventually she told her that he needed to go to Sunday school. And she took him to church with her. And her name was Ludy. And she took him to church with her, and eventually she had him baptized. Mm-hmm. So she gave his name was Herman, and she needed a middle name. So she gave him Pretty. Nobody knew where she found that name from, but she called him Herman Pretty Stone.
Very good.
And he didn't get pretty either.
He didn't like it. He didn't like his name.
He did not get them pretty,
yeah. Herman Printy. Wow, that's a crazy name.
He didn't like the name pretty guy, but he was out there. He put Herman P. Stone. I said, the bishop, no, you got to put your full name. I said, pretty. He said, I don't care what you started. You got to put your full name. So anyway, eventually, I think she left Philadelphia and took the child with her. He was older now, and I think he was about 7 years old. And they went down she took him to her mother in Reds. Mm-hmm. And the mother kept him there for a while, and then eventually she went back and got him.
Okay, so when I looked at the census report, I don't have it right now, but it showed that he lived, when they did the census, whatever that year it was, he was a young child, he lived there, his cousin Walter and Vivian lived there, and I think Cleo and her husband lived there.
Who husband?
Cleo, and it wasn't Sonny, it was another husband.
Cleo, right. And that's the time when one of the brothers had died.
Luther
had died. And they had the coffin had the coffin in the living room.
No,
with Luther's body.
Was it Luther or was it the woman who had committed adultery? Yeah, I think Luther died in 1919. I think it was the woman that had committed adultery. She died. The sister that committed adultery.
Oh, well, The sister died,
Yeah.
but then it was,
What was her name?
no, this was, one that brother had died,
Oh,
and
okay.
Herman was there.
Okay, I'll look it up. But I thought Luther died.
One, no,
He had
one
TB,
Luther.
right?
What, I don't know his name, but one that the brother had died, and so all his two co-workers who work in the field with him used came by after work to sympathize, I guess, with the family, and they sat there waiting for something to eat. Mostly what were clear that they were doing. So Herbert got up on the rocker,
A chair or something?
no, yes, something like a dresser. And he said, as I sit up here and look around, the only light-skinned person in this room is me. And Cleo said, she said, Ma, come and get Herbert over here. Come and get Herbert. And so with that, they thought that it wasn't funny at the time.
It was so funny because Brighton did the same thing. Brighton did the same thing.
Who did?
Brighton.
Brighton did the
He did the same thing. All the family was in there, and he stood up and talked about how he was the lightest one in there. And I was like, what the heck? History repeating itself.
So, well, anyway, afterwards, I think, his grandmother, he said, or used to tell him, don't sing, because he used to sing those, the popular songs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Don't sing the Martin songs in there. You got to sing Jesus Loves You, or those kind of songs. I don't want to hear you sing those Martin songs and hear anymore. And with that, he decided he would sing nothing but Christian songs that he learned in Sunday school that his grandmother took him to. Took he and Walter and Vivian. I don't know when Vivian's mother died. I thought she died when Vivian was young. Anyway, I think his mother was doing a little better, and she came back and got him. And they were in New York. They both, I think they lived, I don't know, she lived in Florida, she lived in Savannah, she lived in Philadelphia, I don't know where and then she ended up in New York. But she lived in New York and where all the sisters lived. Our brother, New Jersey.
New Jersey and then eventually Harlem.
Yeah.
I said New Jersey, then eventually Harlem.
Yeah, but yes, did something happen there in Jersey that her brother, Dude's father,
Uncle Herbert.
Yeah, he was a barber, and he said he was in Jersey, had this barber shop, but he knew how to cut. He didn't know to cut white people here, and this white man came. So what he did was finish up with water, finish the guy hair with oil, and made a mess of it. But he was quite happy with his cut here, and he left. So I kept paying him and left. And he said, Lord, I hope the guy don't come back and beat me up because I messed up his head. All I had to say was, I don't know to cut the white people here, but never cut the white people here before.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
And was that Patterson, New Jersey? Was that in Patterson, New Jersey? Patterson.
No, he was not. No, that didn't happen to this.
No. Patterson, the city in Jersey.
Yeah, Patterson.
Yeah.
Patterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lived in Patterson when I was coming up.
Yeah. Anyway, he lived with his uncle Herbert, not Herbert, he lived with his uncle Gardner, with Doris and them.
Yeah.
And then he lived sometimes, go back to New York. I lived with Mary. I lived with, and he didn't go to school much.
Mm-hmm.
And then his father came and said, "Oh, I can't have you living like this. You come to Detroit with me." So he went to Detroit with his father. But it was a little different here. His father had a wife, and then he had a shop that does cleaning and cleaning clothes. And another thing he did was sell numbers. Where his wife his wife would take money out of the drawer and don't put it down. How about she take out?
Mm-hmm.
So when he goes at night, the
money short.
Yeah, well, I was short.
Mm-hmm.
That he accused Herbert of taking the money.
Okay.
And Herman said to him, "Now you know I did not take your money, but your friend and your wife say you jumping on me. But I did not take your money. I did not owe them. I don't touch that register."
Mm-hmm.
So with that, his father still accused him of taking the money. So with that, he was about 16 years old, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided that he was going to leave Detroit because it was a little worse than he thought.
Mm-hmm.
So he decided to take the bus and go to Flint. Waiting horse races and things were. And he started, and he got himself a shoe shine, and he started to shoe shine shoes. And he did that for a while, and saved a bunch of money, because he was going to go back to New York. So he had enough money to go back to Detroit, tell his father he was leaving, and he left, and he went back to New York. When he went back to New York, he decided, Mary said, "You can't stay here, but you got to pay." Oh, they were money hungry.
Or poor.
Mary said, "You got to pay me so much a month, a week to live here." So she got a job as a what you call it, a bottle washer. Because they used to wash bottles. So he worked on a bottle washer for about 1 year, 2 years. And then he decided this was the kind of life he wanted. He wanted to do something more with his life. But he didn't have, I think he tried to go back to school, but Mary said, "If you go to school, you can't work. And you can't work, you can't stay here." So he decided, I think he was 18 or 19, when he decided that he could join the Navy,
Yes.
Armed Force. So instead of keeping it to himself, he told one of the workers down there, I am, I'm not, this is the kind of work I want to do. I'm going to leave. I'm going to join the Navy. And naturally, the guy back home would have told the boss that Herman's not going to stay here very long because he said he could join the Navy. So the boss called Herman and says, I need workers. I don't need people coming and stay. But Herman has been here for a couple of years. Yes, I know. I'm going to stay for the rest of your life. But I said, no way am I going to spend my life washing bottles.
Right.
So, guy said, well, you fired. I ain't fired him. Well, once he was fired, he got turned to Mary. He didn't have a job. Mary said, you can't live here.
Wow.
So he forgot about Ludy. And Ludy got mad with him because when she did find out what happened, she was like, why did you come to me? I'm your godmother. But anyway, I think he went to Jersey and he stayed with Gardner for a while. And then he went ahead and joined the
Navy.
Navy. Where he joined Navy, but the kind of work they gave him to do was like Annapolis. You know, like Annapolis.
Yeah.
He was like there were servants.
Right. He was like he worked in the kitchen, right?
Yeah, he worked in the kitchen, yeah. Set up the table, wash the dishes and all things.
Right.
And so that he didn't like that kind of job either, because that's what he was. So he hurt himself on purpose. And then they had to send it to the hospital. Then they had to told him he didn't have a job because they had to replace him. He was happy in that. And that I think he went to the submarine.
Yeah.
And got a job in the submarine.
Yes.
And he worked that job he liked.
Okay. Oh,
And
okay.
but
How about that?
he worked with submarine for a while, and then they decided to go to the Pacific. So they came to Panama, to the what you call
Panama
it?
Canal Zone.
The canal, right. Well, they came to the canal. Well, there was a guy at the ship, that his name was, I think his name was Stone or
Smith or something.
that's
Yeah.
the
Smith.
Yeah, his name was Smith. And he was Herman's grandfather's cousin.
Okay.
And he knew it. And he said, you wouldn't call it, he was family to Herman. He was like cousin in the third, fourth generation, something like that. And he used to call Herman Rascal anything but Stone. Anything but Stone. And Herman grabbed him one day and said to him, what's your name? He said, your name is Stone. I said, why don't you call me Stone? Why you keep on calling me? So the guy went and reported him that he attacked him. This guy was white. So they were going to call him, they had a court martial. So they called him, and the lieutenant that was watching the whole thing, they called him and he says, he and his son was that Herbert grabbed this white guy and tried to beat him up. And wouldn't tell the truth. So they told her that the court martial him or something. And Herbert said, you can't go eat. I am in real trouble here. So he was, what you call it, he couldn't go here, he could go there,
Right.
he could get out the ship. But he was working in the kitchen, he asked their permission, could he take the garbage out? Because I think the chef was a black guy also. The chef was a Filipino, which was teaching the black guys. Anyway, so they worked with him. So yeah, they said, yeah, we back you. So he had a typewriter, and he had his clothes and things, and he put them in the bottom of the garbage can, tall garbage can, and they put the garbage on top, and he asked permission to take them out, to take the garbage out. And they gave him permission. Then he took the garbage out and took off. He took off his armor shirt, and because the Panamanians had how they dress, most of them are in the just the pants, khaki pants, and the shirt, and undershirt.
Yeah, undershirt.
The undershirt, and that's what he did. He put on he had the khaki pants, and he took off the shirt, and he looked just like a Panamanian anyway.
Yeah.
So he jumped on the bus, and he went to Cologne. And from Cologne, he took the train to Panama. So he went to Panama, he went to Panama, and he went to Red Bank, Red Bank. And he went to, naturally, he went to, what you call it, saloon there. And these guys, they talked to him in Spanish, but he just, and they realized, and then he told them what happened. And told them, he says, I want, so what about the way you say it? He said, I have no place to stay. He said, well, come on home with me, and my mom will take care of you. And with that, he went home with this guy. But the whole way, he told them, he says, I am in the Navy, and I jumped ship. And he told them what happened. And he said, I want you to look, because it looks like where they were, I read back, was Columbia caught, and the ship had to go through there to go to the Pacific. So he said, would you look when you see the fish of a ship by the name of ship fish pass
Archer
through,
fish, yeah.
you let me know, and so that I can go back to Colors. And they said, yes, they would look out for him. And they did. And he took him home, and the mother took care of him just like he was her son. Fed him and washed his clothes. And when the guy came and rushed the fish. We saw fish just into the cut. So he said, I got to go. So they took part of his clothes, took him to the train station, and he went back to Colorado. And he reported to the Army, Navy, whatever, the guy. So they told him he said he was 10 days. If you were off 10 days, then you are be court-martialed or shot. But he was off 9 days.
Wow.
So they could do nothing with him. They put him in jail for about 5 days, and then and then after they put him in jail for 5 days, they took him out and put him to work. Oh, and the captain of the ship and the captain of part of Coral, the place where they were.
Cocosolito, I think.
They were arguing because the ship, the captain of the ship needed an extra man. And the guy that is charged of the zone in Coral says, I can't spare an extra man with you. So when Herman came back, then he gave them a man. God, Herman took his place. So Herman took his place. But he didn't get any money, the salary. All he got was enough money to buy toothpaste, shaving things, and soap to be the support. That was all. So he stayed at base for 6 months afterwards. For 6 months, he was they charged him. And so he stayed at the base, I think about 3 months or something like that. And then somebody, Kennedy, his friend Kennedy, said, come on, let's go to this, you can go to the town. Don't worry about any money, don't worry about money. I'll take care of you. So Kennedy became fast when they came to the colors. And I think there's loads of us.
Yeah. So that's the beginning of how he ends up meeting you, and we had that story. Yeah.
Well, he didn't meet me yet because the Panamanian girl was all after them, and when they found he had no money,
they didn't want nothing to do with him.
that absolutely. It dropped it like a hot potato. So that's when he had to hang out with Kennedy. And Kennedy was see this girl, Gwen. But Kennedy told Gwen from the get-go, I am married, I love my wife, we just gonna be friends. Ain't gonna be no sexual thing, no nothing between us, okay? Now you can't she says, that's the kind of guy and the girl I have engaged.
Who said that?
Gwen Dudley.
Oh, okay.
Gwen and him was engaged. And the guy, he was, what was he? He was, I forgot, something big in color. And he did a lot of traveling. So Gordon had a lot of free time. So that was good. And then Herman, poor soul, could get a girlfriend. Then he met me.
So he met you.
Yeah, that's it, that.
Okay. You want to talk a little bit, because we were talking a little bit, we have a few more minutes. We were talking about Wrens, and I was having you talk about Hoyt Braswell.
Hoyt, yeah.
So maybe tell us a little bit about Hoyt Braswell. He was he's passed
Hoyt
away now.
Bradford was a white guy that did not appreciate and did not, what you call it, um, endorse the way they were treating black people. He was a kind of guy that treats equally everybody. So, as I told, as I tell you, the circus came to Rennes.
The circus, okay.
And this, I don't know why black people are so stupid. If you know you can't do this in this storm, why am I going there? But anyway, black people just phone the bills with them, and naturally they take the money. And when they take the money, they could go in. I said, oh, they want the money back. No, you are ready? No, sorry. You can't get the money back. So this guy was fighting with this circus man, which was a shyster, a robber. And Hoyt came in and bonfire was the trouble. So the black guy told Hoyt what they did. And so he said, give him back his money. He said, you can't come here and tell me what to do. And Hoyt said, this is my town. Give him back his money. And with that, the guy started to, two other guys came out, they started to beat a poor Hoyt and called him nigger lover. And they beat Hoyt to a pub. And the guy could do nothing. Because if he had touched a white guy, you know the lynching.
Right.
Okay, so that was nothing. But Hoyt used to come by every morning, stop by your grandmother's, have a cup of coffee, and then go on to work. I know, he was a very pretty nice guy, but he was a robber too. Because when my mother-in-law sold a piece of property which she had no right selling, because it was hers, and we don't know how she did it up to this day. Just like Lucille and the property in Cold Island. How did she manage to sell the acres upon acres of land the same way your grandmother did? They find hoodlums, and that's who did. So when the man's wife died, and all his kids are grown and gone, he decided to leave. So he could sell the property instead of giving it back to my mother. She's selling it. And Hoyt bought it for $75. When Harmony got ready to pay the tax, it was different. So he asked about his mother who bought the land. And she said Hoyt did. So he went to Hoyt, and Hoyt said, yeah, I send you back because I don't want it anyway. It's only an acre, half an acre. But you're going to have to pay me $200 and something dollars. But I said, you only pay $75. I said, take it or leave it.
Hoyt was a businessman, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he has a RV park there in Rennes now. He has an RV park, and they used to have the what is it? The gourd farm. Because after, his wife was running that gourd farm.
Oh, the gourd
Yeah.
farm, yeah.
And I remember one year when we were down visiting, wasn't it him that took us to glean peanuts from the field?
Took you where?
To glean peanuts. I guess the peanuts had already been picked, but there were still peanuts that could be gleaned, and we went and got a bunch of peanuts from the
probably
field.
so.
Yeah, I remember that. Because he had a farm, because I remember that there being cows.
He had 7 farms.
Yes, yeah. He was a.
You was a businessman.
Yeah.
You know, I know the business that came between Hurt Russell and Ada Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Those two own ranch.
Yes. Yeah. So Ada Kelly, is there a Cora Kelly too?
Cora Kelly?
Yeah. Because there's a Cora Kelly Road and then there's an Ada Kelly Road. So I don't know who Cora Kelly is.
Cora Kelly might be her daughter or somebody. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know you put Ada Kelly.
Ada Kelly, yeah. Yeah, well, there's a whole bunch of Wrens named after Ada Kelly. The number of streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. So Ada Kelly, my mother-in-law, she is afraid to stay in the house by herself. Not the people, but probably dead people.
Ghosts?
Huh?
Of ghosts?
Dead, yeah, ghosts. And so she used to go every night and spend the night with Ada Kelly. Every night she would, I'd go home in the morning and then at night, before the dark, she goes to Ada Kelly and spend the night there. Now, Ada Kelly had a son who was mentally ill, and he was in the Georgia Institute or something like
Georgia Regional, probably. The Georgia Regional Hospital.
Yeah, mental health, yeah. And he kept on asking her, the mother, Ada, please get me out of here, please get me out of here. And the doctor said, no, don't move. He seems to be normal because we gave him the medication. But once he leave here, he not going to take that medication. And he could, so leave him here. But the kid, he would not stop. He just kept on begging her to side him out. Meanwhile, my son wife was having her second son, her second baby. So she asked, called us and told us they were having the baby, just having a pain. So if he wanted to go on down. So her and I decided to go down to Maryland. And this is Columbia, Maryland. To go to Columbia, Maryland. And with the second baby, because the first one I cut them out so bad, they decided to have me there for the second. So, we decided to take
Grandma.
your grandma, Annie, and we decided, well, we're going to leave there early Sunday morning, Monday morning, or what? And so we're going to spend the night with her, and then we're going to leave for rest and go straight to Maryland. Well, that morning, That night she got early, she didn't spend with Ada. She stayed at home because we were there.
Right.
When that morning about 8 o'clock, mechanics came by, tell us that Ada Kelly was dead.
Mm.
I said, and how could Ada, that her son killed her, shot her. And when your grandmother almost fainted, she almost died herself.
Yeah.
So we said, well, how did it, he said, when they found Ada Kelly dead, under the blood, the coroner said that she had a hemorrhage in the brain, and that's why she had all the blood. But when the undertaker examined the body, he found the bullet in the brain. So it seems that Ada and they don't lock the doors like we do, like they don't lock the door either. So she sat in a chair like this asleep every night. And this night, he got up, he walked over the door, walked to her and shot her in bed while she was sleeping. And killed her.
Yeah.
That was it.
And Ada Kelly was known in the community for why? Why was she so well known in the community, Ada Kelly?
She was well known. I guess she was rich.
Yeah. Because she had a store, right?
Yeah.
If she had a store out there, and there's no
I
stores
saw her
around.
house that McCann rented.
She what?
A house McCann lived in.
Oh, she owned that house?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Miss McCants lived on the bottom of the bottom. And,
Yeah.
Wow. Did I ever tell you that Brian Ushery, who, did the yard and stuff, did I ever tell you he was a student of Mr. McCants?
No kidding.
Yeah, Mr. McCants was his teacher, and he was telling us some stories about Mr. McCants. Mr. McCants was a funny guy.
Right?
Uh-huh. He said Mr. McCants used to say stuff about ladies. They call the kids ladies. You want him to drink?
No kidding.
Yeah. Small world. Yeah.
I didn't know. We did ask.
Yeah, we were talking to him when we were down there last time, and that's when I forgot to tell you, he told us that he knew Mr. McCants.
What kind of bottles did he clean? And how did he clean them?
Okay, Mom, when you were talking about Daddy was washing bottles, when you were talking about Daddy washing bottles,
yeah.
So, what kind of bottles was he washing, and how did he do
for
it?
sodas.
Soda bottles?
Soda bottles. You right now in New York. When you buy Coca-Cola or something, buy in the bottle, you pay a deposit at the bottle. And you have to return the bottle to get your deposit.
That's right, like a nickel or something like that. We don't do it down here, but they do it up north. Yeah. Oh, so he was washing because now I guess machines do it.
Right.
But back in the day, they had people do it. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Okay, well, thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
Always learn something new every time.